Kick us off today, we're making this Oreo dump cake, and oh man, it is so good. Spray a 9x13 baking dish with non-stick spray, then add about 25 Oreos down to the bottom of the baking dish. You could use whole Oreos like this, or you could break your Oreos up into smaller pieces. Either way will work super well. Now add 1 box of yellow cake mix all over the top of the Oreos. Spread that cake mix out just so it's not in like one clump. You want it to kind of be an even layer over the Oreos. After you're through with that, go ahead and add a 12-ounce can of evaporated milk all over the top. This is such an easy recipe to throw together just because we're literally throwing the ingredients into the baking dish. It is amazing. After that, add a 1/2 cup of milk over the top, and then add about 1/4 cup of mini chocolate chips over the top of that. After that, you're going to place 3/4 cup of super thin sliced butter all over the top of everything. You want to make sure your butter is super thin so it melts down evenly all over the top of the cake. Bake this in a preheated oven to 350 degrees for about 40 minutes. Once it's nice and golden brown on the top like this, you could serve it up. We topped ours with ice cream, and this is, boy oh boy, so delicious. That cake in the middle is like super moist and ultra yummy. You need to try this one if you're an Oreo fan like us. Now we're getting started on this Black Forest cake, so spray a 9x13 baking dish with non-stick spray. This recipe is so simple to make. Now add in 2 20-ounce cans of cherry pie filling, add them right into the baking dish, then spread them out to the best of your ability. Over the top of the cherries, add 1 box of chocolate cake mix. You could use any brand or any type of chocolate cake mix that you would like. Spread it out to the best of your ability. Now sprinkle 1 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips over the top. I'm using the mini chocolate chips. After that, add about 3/4 cup of super thin sliced butter over the top. Bake this in a preheated oven to 350 degrees for about 45 minutes. And I know a lot of you guys have been affected by the recent storms. I've been praying and thinking about you guys often, so I hope you're doing okay. But this cake is delicious, and if you're a cherry fan and a chocolate fan, you will absolutely devour this. My husband had like 2 or 3 bowls. It was just that good. We also topped ours with a little bit of ice cream on the top. Now we're getting started on the strawberry cheesecake dump cake, and I don't know about you, but I love anything cheesecake. We're beginning on the cheesecake filling first. So to this bowl, I added in 8 ounces of softened cream cheese, 1/4 cup of sugar, and 1 egg. I beat this super well until it was smooth. To my baking dish, I'm adding in 2 20-ounce cans of strawberry pie filling. Just add those cans right into your baking dish and spread them out to the best of your ability. After you add those cans in there, you're going to add that cheesecake filling over the top. You don't want to mix the 2 layers together, so just carefully add it to the top and spread it out. Over the top of the cheesecake layer, you are going to add 1 box of yellow cake mix, or you could use white cake mix if you'd like. Spread that cake mix out. Now over the top of the cake mix, you're going to add 3/4 cup of super thin sliced butter. The thinner you slice your butter, the better. After you add that butter over the top, go ahead and throw this in your oven on 350 degrees for about 45 minutes. We topped ours with a little bit of Ready Whip, and I absolutely love those layers. That strawberry layer is delicious, and then that cheesecake layer is phenomenal. Then you have like that crumbly cake mix over the top. This is the perfect dessert in my opinion. Now we're getting started on this blueberry crumble cake. So to a bowl, add in 4 cups of frozen blueberries, or you could use fresh. I'm just using frozen just because they're a little bit more affordable. Then add in a tablespoon of lemon juice. You could use fresh lemon juice or part of a bottle like me. Then add in 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. After you add that brown sugar in there, give this a really good stir to coat those blueberries in the lemon juice and the sugar. After you're through with that, grab a 9x13 baking dish and spray the baking dish with non-stick spray. After that, go ahead and add those blueberries right to the bottom of the baking dish and spread those blueberries out to the best of your ability. If you didn't know this yet, I have a cookbook and you will find this recipe on page 209. I do have some cookbooks available right now if you don't have one or if somebody you know doesn't have one. I have them linked below this video. Sprinkle 1 box of yellow cake mix all over the top and spread it out. Then you're going to place 3/4 cup of thin sliced butter over the top of the cake mix. And I do want to show you what happens if you don't slice your butter super thin and you kind of miss some patches of cake mix while placing your butter over the top. After you bake it in the oven, you're going to have some dry patches just like this. So this is why you need to slice your butter thin and place it all over the top. Also, if you want to mix melted butter with cake mix in a separate bowl, then sprinkle it over the top, you could also do that, but you're just going to be dirtying up another bowl. But that's totally fine. I've done it that way and it works out wonderfully. But this is one of my favorite dump cakes to make just because it is so delicious, so fresh tasting, and my family just gobbles it up. It is really delicious. If you haven't tried this one, you need to. Now we're making this apple cranberry Christmas cake, and oh my deliciousness. To a greased 9x13 baking dish, add a 14-ounce can of whole cranberry sauce. Spread that cranberry sauce out. I promise this is so good. You just have to trust me. Now over the top of that cranberry sauce, you're going to add a 20-ounce can of apple pie filling. Just spread that apple pie filling out to the best of your ability. These layers are just so perfect together. They really are. Now over the top of the apples, sprinkle 1 box of yellow cake mix. Don't mix the layers together, just sprinkle it over the top. After you add that cake mix on, you're going to add a 1/2 cup of chopped walnuts. If you're not a nut fan, you absolutely do not need to add the chopped walnuts, but they do add a great crunch. Now add 3/4 cup of super thin sliced butter. I did have a little helper helping me with this one. Bake this in a preheated oven to 350 degrees for about 45 minutes. Your house is going to be smelling like a holiday. It is just so good. This apple cranberry cake is perfect for any holiday. It is absolutely delicious. It's also so easy to make, so it's ultra good for holidays, just so you don't have to be spending hours and hours in the kitchen making a dessert. You need to try this one. It really is so delicious, and you could also add ingredients or subtract ingredients. Now we're making this chocolate chip crescent casserole, and I can't even express my love for this casserole to you. It is so good. You just have to try it. I have about 15 ounces of pre-made crescent rolls that I cut into smaller pieces. Add those into a large baking dish and then kind of spread them out. Over the top of the crescent rolls, I'm adding 1 1/4 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. If you're not a chocolate chip fan, of course, you don't have to add the chocolate chips, but oh man, they make them so good. Now we're getting started on the creamy mixture, so add about 16 ounces of softened cream cheese into this bowl. Next, add in 1 cup of sugar along with a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Beat this super duper well until everything is well combined and it is smooth. Now you're going to beat in 4 eggs, but just add those eggs in one at a time and beat them in after you add them in. That way this mixture is going to stay silky and smooth. It's not going to become clumpy and, not so yummy. So just beat those eggs in one at a time, and I promise it's going to work out so well. After you add in all 4 of those eggs and they are beaten well, you're going to add in a 1.5 cups of milk. Beat that milk in super well, and then once it is silky and smooth just like this, you're going to pour it over the top of the crescents and the chocolate chips. After that, give it a little stir. Then you're going to bake this in a preheated oven to 350 degrees for about 35 minutes or until it's golden brown on the top and it has set. Okay, I'm well aware this isn't the most beautiful recipe in the world, but let me tell you, it tastes like you got it from a fancy French restaurant. It's at the top for one of my all-time favorite recipes. This is so good. You could serve it warm, or what my favorite way to serve it is refrigerated, so those chocolate chips harden. It's amazing for dessert, or you could serve it as a breakfast. I have so many more videos like this on my channel, so make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.